I remember some years ago, quite a few now, one of the early studies I did was with students in an inner city black community in Houston, Texas, in the most economically impoverished part of Houston. And it was an interview study looking at examining their environmental views and values. And I just remember two questions from there that really stood out that I want to bring forward today to introduce a few ideas. And we were asking kids about, and one question, can you just tell us, do you know about air pollution? The majority of the children could, and they could articulate it and talk about what it looks like and where it exists. Then we asked a follow-up question, which is, does Houston have the problem of air pollution? And a minority of the participants thought that Houston had air pollution. And it was startling because, at the time, Houston was the most polluted city in the United States. And so what we're looking at is data where kids are growing up in the most polluted city in the United States. They understood about air pollution, so the teaching has been there, they've learned it, and yet they don't think that they have it in their town and so in the city. So we're asking, why? And that set me off on thinking about this idea. It's got a long name here that I've coined environmental generational amnesia. And it's that what's happening with the children in Houston. It's happening to all of us. It has happened to all of us, and that is all of us come of age in an already impoverished, diminished, with the nature's diminished, it's polluted, degraded to greater or lesser extents. As children, we construct what's normal, a baseline, and we say, well, this is normal. But it's normal only in the sense of that's what we have constructed as the baseline, but it's already been, across generations, it's been diminished and degraded. So one of the large shifts happens between generations. A smaller sort of shift, you can see it's not even generational. So one of the challenges is just even within a generation, people's perceptions are misperceptions. And then the large shift happens across generations with the child's construction of knowledge. And it's the misconstruction of knowledge. It's a failure. It's not just lecturing or book learning or more teaching or more videos. The kids in Houston, go back to that just as a touchstone. They knew about pollution. It's not that they don't have the mental knowledge. But somehow what you need to have is then the interaction with more pristine, bigger nature. Even if they had experience with less polluted states, then you would have a comparison. You go, oh, okay, pollution, not pollution. Now, this interaction with nature, and this is now drawing on the scientific literature over the last, it's really come on board over the last 10 years, that's showing the enormous benefits of interacting with nature it's not just for ecosystem health, though of course it is for that. It's not simply natural capital, it's not simply ecosystem services. We need to interact with nature for our physical health and psychological well-being. And the literature then, the scientific literature showing that interaction with nature, just so many studies in terms of reducing stress, reducing aggression, improves immune function, improves eyesight, improves people's social connectedness. You can even see reduction in crime, reduces ADHD symptoms, increases learning, reduces depression, improves mental health. If I told you I had a drug that could do all of that, you'd go, yeah, let's take it, let's do it. But of course it's a fantasy. You don't have a drug. And I say, no, these are the effects of interacting with nature. The importance of Discovery Park within our region, it's huge, right? Because it's the biggest park in our area. It's the most wild park within our city. It affords types of interactions that just are not possible with smaller areas. And the smaller areas are fine too. But we need to keep that vision alive of something large, of something big. All of us go to places in nature, that we love. And it could be very simple, it could be very local, it could be a place on this campus for some of us, it could be Discovery Park, right? It might be Mount Si, it might Tiger Mountain, it might be further out. Glacier Peak Wilderness Area is only like 2.5 hours. Big mountains. The North Fork of the Sauk River, wild, cold water rushing down. I mean, beautiful. Or it might be national parks. And we're the beneficiaries of that. And what I'd just like to say is the Discovery Park is always under threat. It's a big park. The development, Seattle, as we've learned today, more and more people moving into Seattle, intense pressures. And it's always pressures. It's always more and more people, more and more development. I'm into development. You're into development. It's not an issue of development. It's an issue that it's always gobbling up more land. And as we gobble up that land, we're gobbling up the well springs of human existence. So we need to push back on that. And that's the power and beauty of this priceless gift of Discovery Park that we need to hold on to.